Our top story, good governance may be the biggest plank of this government, but does that come at the cost of celebrating Christmas in the way that it's always been celebrated? That clearly depends on who you ask.
From the launch of the e-auction process for coal allocations, a flood of online initiatives in information technology, to celebrating 14 years of the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, the Narendra Modi-led government marked former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee's 90th birthday as Good Governance Day. With the Prime Minister himself continuing with his Swachh Bharat campaign, with BJP leaders across the country lending a hand, making it at least a part working Christmas for these mantris and bureaucrats. It's the second working holiday after the Swachh Bharat campaign that was kicked off on Mahatma Gandhi's birth anniversary. The government, though, insists that it was all voluntary.
There is no force. People are at liberty to celebrate these functions in whatever manner they fit.
At the Rajiv Gandhi Bhavan, headquarters of the Civil Aviation Ministry, where more than 1,500 people are employed, barely 50 officials turned up for the good governance function, and that too all top officials. And the minister started the proceedings by wishing everyone present a Merry Christmas.
World over, and rather more so with us, we have been trying to make government responsive and less obtrusive.
Not everyone, though, warmed up to the idea of Good Governance Day on Christmas, with Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee even saying every day is Good Governance Day.
We give respect for him also. Yes. It doesn't mean that we have to observe Good Governance Day on Christmas Day.
Omar Abdullah tweeted, "Merry Christmas everyone, or if you prefer, Happy Good Governance Day." RPN Singh of the Congress wrote, "My birthday wishes also to Vajpayee ji on his 90th birthday. I'm sure he'd want us to mark good governance the whole year, not hijack Christmas Day."
That is matter of coincidence that Vajpayee ji's Janamdin is today.
For many in the BJP, the tenure of former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee is an example of managing a tough coalition and running a successful government. But celebrating his birthday as Good Governance Day, that's also Christmas, means escaping the controversies that come along with it is almost impossible. In New Delhi with Sandeep Hukan, Keet Kiangre for NDTV.
Right, well, what exactly is this all about? Is this part of a larger statement or a vision that the government has on Christmas? Is it diluting Christmas in a sense, or is this just another indicator that, look, there is only one plank as far as this government is concerned? That's the plank of development, of getting the job done. Joining us to debate this, Aman Sinha, spokesperson of the BJP, Randeep Singh Surjewala, spokesperson of the Congress, Rakesh Sinha, a professor with Delhi University, Father Dominic Emmanuel, and Dilip Cherian with me in the studio. Thank you all very much for being with us. Aman Sinha, couldn't this have been held on any other day of the year?
Vishnu, first of all, let me wish all of you Merry Christmas and all your viewers. And let me say that it was sheer coincidence that the birthday of Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji is on 25th of December. And Vajpayee ji was a man who made India nuclear. We won Kargil war under his leadership. And when the government wanted to, underscore the importance of good governance and devote and dedicate a day for good governance, there was, no better person than Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji to dedicate it to. And therefore, the government has decided to, choose 25th December as the Good Governance Day. So this was a sheer coincidence. But let me also tell at the same time, Vishnu, that, nobody has really complained. There was a hue and cry that schools are open and, holidays will be denied, but nothing of that sort happened. It was, as much a holiday as it used to be earlier. So, I mean, all those people who are, having some wild perceptions about it that, schools will be open, children will be attending schools, they have all been, turned false. And it is as much a holiday as it used to be. But there is no difficulty in having some, noble ideas to be floated on such noble good days.
Randeep Singh Surjewala, why don't you reply to that? Even if you look at attendance in the offices of the government, it was minimal. The Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers have the prerogative to work whenever they want, select whichever agenda they want. You have BJP spokespersons wishing everybody a Merry Christmas. Most people actually were at home today. Are we making too much of a deal out of this?
So let's look at it like this. Let me begin by saying that everybody respects Vajpayee ji, and if Vajpayee ji was in good health and could have answered this question, he would have reminded Prime Minister Mr. Modi of his Raj Dharma and would have rejected this very idea of attempting to convert Christmas into a good governance day. Also, Vishnu, it's all about symbolism. Prime Minister and his entire government has become a government of symbolism. It goes from one step to the other. Why good governance only on one day? Will they have bad governance on 364 days? Number 3, Swachhta Abhiyan was launched by the Prime Minister on 2nd October, birthday of Father of the Nation. Why have a repeat of the same photo opportunities today? Why not do something meaningful? Is it not really, when you see in light of what Prime Minister's ministers have been doing, the kind of remarks they are passing, what RSS and its about over 150 affiliate organizations have been doing, what the entire BJP's leadership surreptitiously has been doing, is to convey a message that the very foundation of idea of India of religious tolerance, of multiculturalism, of unity in diversity, that is what is being sought to be attacked, and I take very strong offense to it as an Indian, not necessarily as a Christian or a Muslim or a Hindu, but as an Indian who celebrates everything. And why make it compulsory through circulars issued by each ministry?
It wasn't compulsory.
And each ministry organizing 10 to 15
Randeep, it wasn't compulsory.
No, not at all. That is all incorrect. Please allow me to respond.
Aman, go ahead.
Well, let me tell you, government of Haryana made it compulsory.
Vishnu, your own report, in your own report, you have shown that only about 50 people had turned up voluntarily.
And my
so there is no compulsion at all. And all their claims about circulars, that is the point that I am making. They have already been proven wrong. The difficulty is that they do not wish this government to focus on issues of good governance and development, which this government is trying to underscore. They only want to polarize, communalize the agenda, which has been repeatedly rejected. That is their whole intent. And let me also say, Vishnu, that nobody apart from our television panelists, some of them self-styled, pseudo-secular warriors, nobody from, some common people are complaining. Which school child has told that his school was open?
I think, Aman, the question that everybody wants to know is this, and I know it's a hypothetical question, but let me still ask you this question. Aman, the question is this: if Atal Bihari Vajpayee's birthday had coincided with Diwali, would the BJP have gone ahead and had Good Governance Day on Diwali?
Yes, quite possible. Quite possible. It might have been the case, and therefore I am saying no. It's a sheer coincidence that his birthday happens to be on 25th of December. I do not see any contradiction between Christmas and having good governance. You can have 2-3 noble, positive, things happening on the same day. What is the difficulty about it? And in no way it undermines. It only adds to the. And let me also say, Vishnu, that.
Yes, Aman, finish your statement.
Please, just 10 more seconds, Mr. Surjewala. You can ask as many questions as you wish to. There are many holidays, many gazetted national holidays, which are not holidays in the state government. For instance, say Ram Navami or Janmashtami, they are not celebrated in many states, do not have their holidays. But nobody makes a complaint about it that it was due to certain other vested interests.
No, but Christmas is a gazetted holiday.
That holiday is not there in
Christmas is a gazetted
that particular
holiday.
State. Guru Purab or Buddha Purnima.
All right.
Many of these states.
Okay, Aman, I'm listening to what you're saying, but Father Dominic wants to come in over here. The bottom line: do you feel slighted today? Do people who are Christian and many others who are not Christian feel slighted today?
We absolutely feel slighted, and I would like to just quote from the Bible. The Bible has a book called the Book of Proverbs, and the Book of Proverbs has got a chapter which says, there is a time to sow, there is a time to reap. There is a time to weep, there is a time to laugh. There is time for everything there is a season for everything under the heaven. I am asking, in this season of Christmas, Why do you want to have a time to weep or do something strictly? What this finally you are talking about, only 50 people turned up in the government, exactly shows the displeasure and complete rejection of this circular that has come on the cost of what they might face in future. And I hope that this government learns this lesson, that on Christmas Day, when the whole world is celebrating a great day, they are talking about good governance.
No, but Father, those 50 people who turned up, the argument could be also that they turned up because they felt they had no choice.
For me, the argument is this, that they have utterly rejected it. And I hope they get a signal for this, that this is not liked by people. You may try to force some people. You may try to put fear of God through your circulars, but that is not going to work.
It is your version. You are entitled to your opinion.
You are entitled to your version.
Any school child or any official has come out and complained.
It is my version because I am affected by it and I am pained by it. And this country belongs to everybody. And they should the government should take care of the people who are
not
pained.
At all pained by it.
The government should take care of all those people who are pained and hurt. It is not only for muscle power that you want to show that yes now we
want to reach out to everybody.
Not this way.
If you keep playing this, victim card for no reason at all, it makes no sense at all, really. What is the contradiction between good governance and Christmas? Please tell me.
From which,
has anybody complained that
the children were sent to schools? Why was the Good Governance Day, the birthday of Vajpayee ji, not celebrated by BJP governments anywhere in the country for all these years? There have been BJP governments. Why were they not celebrating it at all?
This is a decision of the present government.
Is it not part of a larger agenda that Mr. Modi and BJP is trying to project when Sadhvi Niranjan Jyoti says what she says, which is unspeakable, when your other minister Giriraj Singh says what he says, when Swami Adityanath says what he says, when many of your other MPs say what they say in a completely premeditated, polarizing fashion? Is it not that Bharatiya Janata Party and Prime Minister Modi trying to do? Send a message to minorities that they are second-class
to admit their mistakes.
Send a message to all those who believe in the very idea of India and the equality of religion. That no,
but Congress party is shameless on this account. The kind of vilification campaign that they undertook against the Prime Minister and the BJP, nobody has, till today, nobody has expressed a word of regret or remorse.
That is what you did not hear. Party told them. What did you hear me?
I think Aman,
did you not hear me?
Need to answer and address these very fundamental questions by getting out of this BJP, Congress and other parties mold.
Randeep,
question is not of political parties.
All the questions.
Randeep, Aman Sinha, both of you are talking. You're talking together, and now the message is being lost. But let me. I've got two more panelists. I need to go across to them. Professor Sinha, let me ask you this question. Two of the central themes in Christianity are unconditional love and friendship of man for God and fellow creatures. Shouldn't this been a day where we just reflect on this and don't work? In other words, that the agenda of working on Good Governance Day, which the Prime Minister, it was a working day for the Prime Minister, it was a working day for other MPs. Did he have to do this on a day when this is the message that the Christian community believes India needs to listen to or follow?
I think whole debate is based on a perception. If you go by perception, your interpretation will lead to a wrong conclusion. Atal Bihari Vajpayee is the most towering personality in the BJP. He can be considered the father of coalition dharma and the Raj dharma. Congress, Socialist and the Janata Dal people and all the political parties, even the CPM people quote Atal Bihari Vajpayee's sermon on Raj dharma. How he led the coalition politics, and it is due to Vajpayee's image which is BJP is casting as the Good Governance Day. It is sheer coincidence. And earlier you asked the question, had it been on the day of Diwali, had BJP observed this day as a Good Governance Day?
True.
That time debate would have been the Hinduization of the administration, Hinduization of the politics. So look, don't go by the perception of BJP RSS. One thing I want to make it clear. that whole Hindu tradition is a tradition of liberal tradition, a tradition of accommodation. There is no question of marginalizing the Christians or Christmas. We have internalized the Christmas as our own festival. It's not the festival of Christians. The question is here. The question is here why the Christians are making this question, because they are affected by a debate of the anti-conversion law. Because they want to harvest the Hindus. So they are taking revenge on that day. They are making a propagation that BJP is trying to jeopardize.
No, but the opposite argument can also be raised that this is a symbol.
1,450 people did not go into the government to work.
Vishnu, I have one more point. Vishnu, I have one more point.
Were they
on the day of Onam,
Kerala
government makes many announcements. The government makes many announcements. There is a Gudi Padwa in Maharashtra. That is a very sensitive day of sanctity, and the government launches many programs. So it is Indian tradition.
No, but Professor Sinha, you began your answer by saying that it's all an issue of perception. The alternative perception is that the Christian community today feels marginalized because of this entire business of conversions which is happening. Quite beside the larger argument that the Christian community has been involved in conversions. If you look at the timing of what is happening, this is one community that says that look at the timing of what is happening, hence they feel marginalized in a sense today.
I have one straight question. Who stopped any Christian to celebrate the Christmas? Who stops any Indian to celebrate the Christmas? Does the Good Governance Day stops any or any Hindu,
it takes away from the occasion.
Any Muslim or any Christian to
the argument, Professor, is that it takes away from the occasion.
The Grinch.
It takes away from the occasion.
No, it is not it is neither the dilution of the occasion.
Sir, in our democracy we can celebrate whatever we want. So the question of being allowed to celebrate doesn't arise.
Vishnu, it is a promotion of democracy. I think it is multiple project Prime Minister has launched. One is Swachhta Abhiyan, another is a Good Governance Day.
Okay,
that was
okay. We'll come back to that. Dilip Cherian, let me ask you this. You know, Aman Sinha made a point which I felt was very important earlier on. He said that, and it's a hypothetical question I asked him. He said if Diwali happened to coincide with the birthday of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, who knows? Good Governance Day could have been on Diwali as well. So, in other words, it's not an agenda based on taking away from the Christian community or any community. It's just based on an agenda of getting the job done, governance.
You know, as somebody who watches bureaucracy, which is governance, and who watches perceptions, I think that there are several issues here which are willy-nilly being mixed up. There is no doubt that perceptionally conversion, Christmas and Good Governance Day coinciding has made that into one kind of silo. There's also the other silo of what is good governance and how is that being promoted actively on this day. Leaving aside the debate on the numbers of how many attended a particular program, you also had the horrific visuals on television today on Christmas Day of the Chief Secretary of Assam who happened to be riding, having a elephant safari while he was having problems in his state.
So there wasn't good governance.
So good governance is something that this country very sorely lacks, and anyone paying attention to that must recognize that it can't be confined to any one day. It has to be a 365-day effort if it's going to lead anywhere. But as far as the perception of what's going on, whether the fringe groups around Mr. Modi have taken hold of the tiller is an issue which actually bothers a lot of people, because it is going to end up making any effort by this government vitiated, because it will get into a communal color which will prevent it from actually delivering anything on any agenda whatsoever.
Aman, that's a very fair point. And there have been reports already of how the Prime Minister is upset with members of the Sangh for introducing what is being seen as a communal tinge, arguments on conversion and other issues, statements made by some leaders in Parliament that is taking away from his own good governance plank. So therefore, issues like this on Christmas, which once again raise a communal issue or a religious issue, should they be coming up in the interest of the Prime Minister himself? They shouldn't, perhaps.
You're right, Vishnu, and this government's agenda is very clear. It's good governance and development for all. And you will recall that, you know, as far as conversion issue is concerned, this debate was raised by the opposition parties in the parliament. In order to satisfy them and address this issue, we came out with a proposal saying that we are open to having an anti-conversion law which applies equally to everybody. if other stakeholders are also agreeable, the government could possibly consider it. But the difficulty is that, opposition parties, they are, they take self-contradictory stand, they take, hypocritical stands, they wanted a debate and then they are accusing the government of polarizing. So it's, all very amusing sometimes to see the kind of arguments they come up with. But the fact of the matter is that this government's agenda is good governance and development, and therefore we wanted to underscore that, and there is no better person than Atal ji to dedicate it to. That was all. And let me say that, nobody from ordinary public has come out and said that, in any way it has taken away from the festivities. We are all celebrating Christmas as much as we used to do earlier. And let me also say, as my friend was pointing out, governance has to go on every day. And if, some bureaucrats turn up, let us all remember that our armed forces, our police personnel and large number of people from civil administration are already there on duty on each and every day, whether it is their own festival or whatever it might be.
So in other words,
because we need to have,
should holidays on these occasions be banned?
So
Sambit Patra, your colleague, said so in our previous
program.
No, I'm
not at all making that
people
point.
need to work every single day, including holidays.
Point.
Is that a position of the BJP?
No. That is not my point and that is not BJP's point. That may be a subject matter of discussion on some other platform. But that is not the point that I am making. The point that I am making is that governance has to go on each and every minute, every second. Somebody has to be there to, regulate things. And therefore we see that our police personnel, our armed forces,
and they do so silently, Aman.
Civil administration also.
They don't need a good governance plank
to
tell anybody that they are working. Why did the Prime Minister need a good governance plan to tell people he's working?
And on the other hand, if actually the effort is to make sure
that... No, and please let me remind you, Vishnu, just short point, that Prime Minister Modi himself was working on Diwali. He chose to go to Jammu and Kashmir and,
our Prime Minister works every single day.
And in fact, I think that's the point.
That goes with the territory of being the Prime Minister of a country as large as ours. But the issue is of others in this particular instance, and whether they should also necessarily fall in his footsteps. That's a larger issue.